If you feel like you're doing the workouts that you're supposed to be doing, but you're still not seeing the results, and you've hit that 35 to 50 point in your life, there might be a missing piece, and I have it here for you. It's not just about what you do in the gym, although that is very important, but it might be more of what you do throughout the day. Hi everyone, I'm Mandy, and this is Mandy Moves Fit in the Chaos. A couple weeks ago, I made a video talking about the 6 essential layers to midlife. Now I'm talking about the time of your life from about 35 to 50 where you may or may not be going through perimenopause, but there might be a shift in how your body reacts to pretty much everything in your life. In that video, I talked about the 6 essential layers, which are strength training, walking, nutrition, sleep, hormones, and stress management. One of the most overlooked layers is daily movement, or walking, as some people like to refer to it. And you might think, oh, duh, even babies walk. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. And you also might be one of those people that loves to kill yourself during workouts, guilty as charged. In an earlier video, I talked about how you don't need to do that. However, more movement, if you're looking for something more to do, is definitely something that will help you if you're on a journey to take off a couple of pounds, possibly lose some body fat, or just feel overall better. If you're like me, you love to take measurements, and I love to look at my Apple Watch or even my Aura Ring app and see, okay, how many calories have I burned? But I had to change that mentality a little bit. I needed to change it to how many steps have I taken today? Have I been moving throughout the day? There's a reason that Apple actually put that stand goal on your rings, is because they want you to stand up and move throughout the day, because studies show that you are more likely to have better health throughout your life if you are moving throughout the day and not if you are sedentary. Now, just like calories, your step count can be off. And there's also variances to that. Little story. So my family does like to go to theme parks, and my husband and I pretty much stick together the entire day when we are there. We might send the kids on a ride and we'll just hang out. But for the most part, we're like in lockstep all day long. Well, I have a 3-inch longer inseam than my husband. I have very long legs, and he has very short legs, but he's longer torsoed, so he's still taller than me. And at the end of the day, he will actually have more steps in the day than I do. It drives me absolutely berserk. But the truth is that we still had the same amount of movement throughout our day. So if you are having a problem with, oh gosh, I have to just keep this step count, maybe look at it more as I need to be moving throughout the day. And here are some ways that you can do that. I'm interrupting this part of the video to make sure that you guys like and subscribe to this channel. I hope you're learning something, and now back to the video. Taking short walks throughout the day, walking after meals, parking further away. I know this one sounds silly, but if you're someone that like goes into an office or runs a lot of errands, even if you're an Amazon driver, park one house over. It'll get you more steps throughout the day. Moving more around the house or moving in between tasks. Now, for someone who works from home, I truly, truly struggle with this. I work from home. I sit at a desk all day. I did get myself a standing desk. That has for sure helped. I will have it linked below. I also have a walking pad that I will sometimes bring out. But the truth is I really need to get outside and feel that sunshine on my skin. Sorry, you guys see my dog adjusting. I need to feel that sunshine on my skin. I need to be outside in the fresh air. Those things are very, very important to my mental well-being, not just the steps. However, we do get rainy days here every once in a while, and I am not one to go and get this hair out in rain. And sometimes I have a really hard time in my busy schedule just fitting it in. So therefore, those tools do come in handy. However, I just have a problem getting up in between meetings and moving around. I truly do. So if you're one of those people that you just are one of those, you just have to keep going, otherwise you will stop. I feel you, girls. However, studies show that that's not the best. And I think that's probably one of my biggest hangups when it comes to my fat loss journey, is I struggle with daily movement. I love my workouts. I will push myself all day in my strength training. However, when it comes to getting in those daily walks or daily movement, that is the biggest struggle for me. Today is the first day that I've gone on a walk in probably 4 or 5 days. Now, why does this matter so much in this time of our lives? Because when we hit that phase of our life where our hormones start to drop, our body reacts differently because it doesn't have the hormones to help us to react to whatever is going on in our lives. So I have a list here of how daily movement can help us, specifically walking. It regulates our cortisol, it supports fat loss, it improves blood sugar, it boosts our mood and energy, especially if you're getting outside. But any sort of movement is going to get that blood flowing and is going to help you to feel better and put you in a better headspace. And then it will also aid in recovery. I've talked about this before, but we need to work on our TDEE. What does that mean? Total daily energy expenditure. I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but basically what it means is throughout the day, how many calories are you burning? Now, I know I just told you earlier, don't look at it all day because a lot of times that those numbers can be wrong and we don't need to be looking at that. But ways to bring that up is to move throughout the day. Movement is important. Just to give you a ballpark of what that looks like when it comes to percentages for our total daily expenditure, when it comes to working out, exercise, like a dedicated workout, is usually only 5% of our total daily energy expenditure.
What?
5% is not very much. Don't get me wrong, that 5% matters. And that 5% can help to build it up. However, it's not the be all and the end all. A much larger piece in that is our NEAT, NEAT, non exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's our walking in between tasks. That is our walking around the block after we have had a meal. That is walking a little bit further when you're going into Target or into Costco. That is parking a little bit further at work. It's really any of those little movements that we have throughout the day that are not part of our dedicated workout for the day. It's 15% on the low end. It can actually go all the way up to 30% on some people. If you are a really active person, if you're in like a blue collar job where you are on your feet all the time, you're getting like 20,000 steps on the daily, you're going to have a higher percentage. When I was working at Disneyland, I was giving tours. I was literally walking around Disneyland all day with people for my job. And I'm sure that my step count, I wasn't keeping track at the time. I'm sure that my step count was super high. I was also younger and my metabolism was much better. But I know that that is part of the reason why at that time I was so thin. So here's the trap that a lot of us fall into. A lot of us are thinking, when we strength train or we go on a run or something like that, great, I have worked out for the day, I am good. And the truth is that you're not, because remember that exercise is only 5% of your total daily energy expenditure. So, and a lot of the times we spend the rest of our day just sitting. And I struggle with this myself. I 100% understand if you're someone who is like, I don't want to move around. Like when I sit and scroll on my phone, which I totally do as well, I don't want to get up and move around. But the truth is like little things like that, just walking around while you're scrolling on your phone, or while I was going through my script for this particular video, I was like, oh, I should probably actually move around while I'm doing this since I'm talking about walking during it or movement during this video. I didn't want to be a complete fraud. However, what I'm telling you is true whether I do it or not. And I can tell you the ramifications of it when you're not doing it. When my NEAT or my walking is on, I saw a significant drop in my fat. And it was not mostly from my strength training, it was from my movement. Now, could my strength training have helped? Of course, because that is going to bring up my metabolism and it's going to help me burn more calories at rest. However, if you're moving more, that's going to help as well. So, what do I try to do? I really try and move as much as I can throughout the day. If you're someone with little kids and you're running after them, great. You guys are way ahead of me because I've gotten to the point where my kids do mostly everything for themselves. And I'm like, oh, I just worry about me. And I dive into work and I barely come up for air. Not only mentally do I need to move around more and take a break, but physically I need to as well. So, what am I going to try to implement? Number one is walks in between meetings. The block that I live on is about a quarter mile long. And if I actually get up in between meetings and walk around the block once, it's really only like 400 steps, but hey, that's 400 steps that I did not have. I'm going to try to do that. Getting outside whenever possible. Walking outside is the best thing for you. I am so blessed that I live in sunny Southern California. It is not very hard to get a little bit of vitamin D. For me, it is sunny from first thing in the morning until sunset. and that sun will help to set your circadian rhythm. Like I said earlier, walking throughout the day will be a mental reset. The way that our brain works is we actually need rest time in order to process all that we have done. So if you ever had like a really heavy meeting or a really intense meeting, and you're just like, I need a break, and maybe you, if you're in an office, you go into the stairwell and take a break by yourself, or you're doing something else, getting outside and walking will be very, very helpful during that time. But my point is about the brain is that your brain needs time to rest in order to process that information. I used to teach kindergarten years ago, and many times parents would talk about how their kids were so tired at the end of the day. These little 5-year-olds are being flooded with information all day long, and they literally need a reset when they get home in order to process all of the different information that they've taken in. We're the same way. Now, we are a little bit more resilient. We don't need a nap right after we've had our school day. Brains do need a little bit of a reset, and taking a short walk would definitely help. And as I talked about in an earlier video, we are not doing super long workouts at this time period of our lives. We're talking 30 minutes, ladies, 30, 40 minutes, no more than that, only 3 to 4 days a week. Therefore, we need to have a little bit more movement in that, because like I said, those are only 5% of our TDEE. There, ergo, we really need to make sure that we are moving throughout the day. Now, some days it's going to be more, some days it's going to be less. You need to look at your schedule and figure out what you can do and when you can do it. Walking may not feel intense, but it supports your body without draining it, which is really important, because I can tell you from personal experience, if you are super stressed out, your body is going to have a really, really hard time recovering. And walking will help to regulate your cortisol levels. Strength training builds muscle, but walking supports recovery, hormones, and energy. So all of these different layers work together. You don't need more intensity. You need consistency in the small things. And walking daily might be your missing piece. As a reminder, I want to make sure that you all know what the 6 essential layers to midlife are. I will have my previous videos linked here at the end. However, just as a recap, we have strength training, walking, nutrition, sleep, hormone therapy, and supplements. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mandy Moves, Fit in the Chaos. I'm so happy you're here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.